Hi everyone, Ms. Cristy here from Aerybeth Sewing, and today I'm going to show you how to make a scrunchie. I have a wide angle so it looks kind of curvy, but it's got a straight edge right here. Okay, so we're just going to make a jumbo scrunchie, and there's different sizes you can make, and the jumbo scrunchie would be 40 inches long. You see how long this piece is. It's doubled. Okay, so you can make it 40 inches long. It's a long piece by 6 inches wide. Okay, so the width here. Okay, if you wanted to make a regular, more normal size scrunchie, you can do it 28 inches, so you can measure down and cut it off at the 28-inch part. And then if you wanted to make a little mini scrunchie, you can do it 18 by 3-ish or so. And then this is an 8-inch piece of elastic. We're going to sew over when we're finished in the center of this. But if you wanted to make it where you could tie it, I would suggest making it around 10 inches so you could put it together, and then you could tie it like a balloon end. Okay, so you're welcome to do it that way. I like sewing it over. Different people have different preferences. If you watch 10 different videos on scrunchie, we all do it a little bit different. When you go to the fabric store, so you'll get your however much fabric you want, and it's usually on the bolt like this, you know, with the selvages over here. That's those two woven edges, and it'll be folded together. Okay, and this width right here is generally about 22 inches, so you're looking at about 44 inches. If you want to cut off the selvage, you know, that's about a ½ inch, so you're cutting off 1 inch. So I go ahead and use the whole width of the fabric, and then there's the elastic. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, I'm going to take this and I'm going to put my selvages back together. Okay, and then I've got this little area right here where those selvages are, and I don't like to include those in my sewing, but I mean, it's not going to hurt anything, so you can just chop it off. Okay, all right, so now I'm going to get my sewing machine right here ready, and I'm going to sew right on the side of this. So let's, okay, all right, so now what I'm going to do is I've got my edges together, and I'm going to put my presser foot down. Now you should know by this time how to thread your machine, but I always take, these are feed dogs underneath here, those little teeth that pull in your fabric, and I put on these, I just put my presser foot right on the edge of that, and it's about 3/8 of an inch. And then I put my needle down because that kind of holds my spot. If you don't have the button to push it down, you can always roll it down with your hand wheel on the side. Remember, always roll your hand wheel towards you counterclockwise and never backwards. All right, so I put my needle down, and then I back stitch. If you started a little bit up from the edge, you can back stitch back to the beginning, and I'm just going to sew that edge. And let the feed dogs do it work. You just let them pull it in. You don't push or pull. You just let it pull in. Now stop just about on the edge, and I back stitch a couple, or you may have a button that you hold it in and back stitch, but then I just go ahead and sew off my edge, and then I roll my needle up or hit the button and pull it out. I also don't cut my threads short. I always cut them longer, and then I cut all my threads off. Have a little trash can nearby, you can put it in that, and then I tuck my threads in back to the back. Okay, so now you have your first stitch. Okay. I suggest making a big one to start with, even if you want other sizes. This will give you good practice, because the bigger the fabric is, the easier it is to do it this method that I'm doing. And then you can take it and you can iron it if you want to. But with this one, I just kind of finger press it open. All right, so now I'm going to take this, it's in the middle, okay, and I'm going to flip it over. Okay, so now I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it to the middle, and I'm going to fold it to the middle. Okay, this is why some of them call it the burrito method. Okay, so now we're just kind of putting it out. I mean, you can even fold it more if you wanted to, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the right sides together. So this is your seam. Okay, so I'm going to put this seam to that seam. Okay, you see that? And the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a pin, make sure that is right. Now I'm going to make sure that my little folded fabric's inside. Okay, so there's this, and that's folded to the inside. And sometimes as you start sewing, it gets kind of messy in there, but as long as it's out of the way and you're not going to sew over it, and you can kind of feel it, you can feel it in there. Okay, all right, so now I'm going to pull my sewing machine forward and we're going to start sewing, and I'll show you what we're doing. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we've got our little scrunchy part inside here, okay, that we folded, and then we're going to put this, and all we feel is we feel the little part we folded right in here. We're going to put our presser foot on the edge of that, and it's about 3/8 inch. So I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to put my needle down, or I'm going to roll it in with my hand wheel, and I'm going to go forward. I'm going to back stitch a couple of times. Again, however you want to back stitch is up to you. Okay, now we're going to go all the way down. Alright, we're to the seam now. So I'm going to take out my pin and go over the seam. Alright, now I'm on the other side. So here's our folded areas in here. So I'm going to make sure that that's out of the way. And I'm going to keep sewing down this side, and you can feel that your fold is in here. Alright, now to the bottom to where this is. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to start pulling. The very first time you do it is kind of weird because you're actually taking that little inside fold and we're pulling it down. Kind of weird for a minute. Now, if it starts coming out, just remember, just tuck it in, and you're putting these sides together. So don't let it stress you out, okay? We're just going to keep, we've got all these folds, we're just going to keep pulling. It makes a little gathered-y thing up here. That's okay. That's the way it's supposed to be. So we pull it down, we tuck it in, tuck all that in. See if you can see it. And then we put those sides together again, okay? And then you just straighten everything back up, and you're making sure your presser foot is on that edge again. You can see that. And you keep doing that until you get back around to where you were, where you started, okay? Keep pulling it around. And you may have to pull this off the back, you know, and pull it all that out and then straighten it back up. As long as your needle's in, you can kind of straighten it back up straight. Okay, so we're going to take that middle section again, and we're going to pull it, keep pulling it, keep pulling it. Alright, now we're going to go down this side again, making sure you're on the edge and you have both pieces. Okay. Take these in here, I'm going to reach in here, get my little folded area. You're kind of having to mess with the back and the front, pulling it on, because it gets all, you know, right here with the needle. So you're just kind of grabbing the top fabric right here and just pulling it off of that. Okay, putting those sides back together. Okay, keep reaching in, keep pulling them forward. Eventually you'll see where you started. Oh, I think I'm getting there. Look at this. I don't know if you can see that. There's the beginning threads. Okay, so when you get back around, kind of pull this straight, and you're going to leave probably a couple inches. Okay, so we're just going to go. If you go a little bit too far, it's okay. And if it hangs over the edge a little bit, remember, it's all going to be inside and it's going to be very forgiving. So I back stitch a little bit right there, and then I hit my needle up, or you can roll it up. We're going to pull it off, I'm not going to cut it short, cut it long, that way I don't have to rethread it later. And then I go ahead and cut off any threads that are hanging, because you don't want to be dealing with that and going, okay, is that an important thread or not? So I'm just going to go ahead and cut off all the threads. Alright, now here's your little opening right here. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to take this. Okay. See that? And I'm just going to start pulling that out. And look at that. Big, giant, round, circly thing. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to let you see that. Look at that. Alright, so now our opening, let's find where it is. Alright, we're going to flip that all around. Look at that. Looks good. That's where we started. Okay? And there's our opening right here. So it's really good. Alright, so if you have those little special turning tools, you can use those. If you had a tool to feed the elastic through, you can do that. Alright, so here's these two. Alright, I'm going to use the 8" because the 10" you can tie, and I don't think you'll have a problem with that. And sometimes you can use the tool that feeds the elastic in, and some people feed the elastic in even before they turn it out. But I put in a piece, I put a safety pin on both sides in case I lose it. I don't have to start all over again. And then, so I'm going to start feeding it through. Now, after you make this first one, you can say, well, next time I'm going to make it a little bit skinnier. And you can determine how skinny you want to make it. And then you can determine also, if you have really thick hair, if you need to have extra elastic or less. Okay, so I take the safety pin, one of them, and I pin it to the edge. That way I won't lose my elastic as I'm feeding it through and have to start all over. So I take this, and the safety pin's right here. So I hold the back of the safety pin. Okay, hold the back, and you're going to scrunch fabric on top of it. Okay, scrunch it, and then I grab hold of it. Scrunch it, and I grab hold of it. Scrunch it, grab hold of it. Now after you've gotten that safety pin kind of full, okay, there's the safety pin, then you can take the fabric and pull the fabric. Okay, it's just like you're feeding a you know, a tie-through pair of shorts or something. Okay, so hold the back, push it on, grab it, push it on, grab it. And I'm just kind of squishing it onto that safety pin, so you can see there's the end and there's the beginning, and I've got it all squished on. So now I'm not pulling the safety pin, I'm just pulling the fabric. Okay, see, it's getting all okay. So I'm going to keep doing it, pushing on the safety pin, pushing it on the safety pin, and once it gets full, I just pull it through. Pushing it on, safety pin's full. Pull it. Now it's going to start doing that. And this is one of those jumbo ones you can wear in your hair, on your wrist, wherever you want to. Keep pulling it around. And you can see I'm getting back to the beginning. There's the safety pin. Okay, so I'm going to push this through, pull it out. Now, I don't want to lose this safety pin when I take it off, so I'm going to make sure I hold that end. Pull that off. Okay. Alright, so there's those two. You can work with it and see if it's twisted inside, but make sure it's all straight. But you know, nobody's going to sit there and feel the inside of your scrunchie. Look at that, isn't that cool? Alright, so I'm going to squish those down. Okay, you can do it two ways. You can sew across it this way or this way. Different people do it different ways. I find I usually, for pants or anything, I'll sew it that way and sew it right across the middle. But for this time, I'm just going to do it this way because it really doesn't matter inside of a scrunchie. Okay, I'm going to take this, I'm going to squish that all back, make sure my thread is underneath, and I'm going to hold that. Get your ends as close as you can together, and if they're a little bit different, it's okay. So I'm going to go across and back, across and back, across and back, a bunch of times, because you do not want that to pop open and have to refix it. Okay, and then I've got these little edges I'm going to cut here. Okay, look at that, and it won't pull apart. Now I'm going to tuck those in. Okay, now you got these little raw edges right here, so I'm going to tuck those little raw edges in. You can go to the iron, or you can just, nobody's going to really see that, it's just up to you. You can iron it down, you can hand stitch it with a hidden stitch, but I'm going to put it underneath the sewing machine. So I'm going to put this under here, put those little edges together, and I'm putting that down. I'm rolling my needle down. I'm going forward and back, and then I see here's my end part, so I'm going to make sure those edges are tucked under. We don't want to see any raw edges. Go backwards a couple times, needle up, cut off all your threads. Don't throw them in the floor, so you or your mom will have to pick them up. Okay, cut off all those. And there is your jumbo scrunchie. Look at that. Isn't that adorably cute? Okay, have fun, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask.